Hey, you. Yeah, you. What you doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm starting off right with Talking About The Blues podcast, baby.
What's going on, good folks? You are once again blues, and we're talking about the Blues podcast, broadcasted live, streaming live on mdoradioblues.com. And today, I got my brother in blues on the line, straight from St. Louis, Marquise Knox. What a deal, bruh?
Oh, nothing much, brother. How you doing?
I'm bluesing.
Good.
And I know you over there bluesing too, because you're on the guitar right now.
On there right now, man. Getting ready to have a show tonight in front of the History Museum in St. Louis for Twilight Tuesday. So it's all good in St. Louis.
That's what I'm talking about. And there's been a lot of blues going on in that part of America the last few years. So we got a lot to talk about.
As we do, man. There's a lot of blues in St. Louis, and we just got the National Blues Museum. So hopefully that'll get a lot more people interested in the blues and find out a lot more about it.
That's right. And you are definitely doing your part, especially with your live stream performances, man. That's some real soulful blues right there, bro.
Well, I always wanted to give the people, just let them see what I can do at home and what my day like. It's almost like a little glimpse inside of it, because I know some of the blues guys that I like, I know I would love to see what they do during the day or how it is when they pick up their guitar. So I think it's just good to let the people know that you're also human, just like the rest of them.
That's real talk right there. So let's start from the beginning, because from what I see, you come from a family of musical background.
That's right. My people hail out of Grenada, Mississippi, and I learned how to play the guitar from my grandmother and her brother, my great uncle, named Clifford. And man, I picked the guitar up. I say when I was about 3 years old, they brought me one. My Uncle Joe brought me a Mickey Mouse guitar, and I busted up against the wall. And my grandfather was passing away in '94, and he told my uncle, he said, Clifford, he said, if that boy had a guitar, he said, I believe he'd learn how to play. And my uncle said, you think so? He said, yeah. And my uncle told me, he said, that never left me what your grandfather told me. And so when I got big enough, and they put the guitar in my hand, and here I am.
That's groove. That's real. That's generational.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now, on that journey, so apparently it started out blues. There was no questions. There was no stumble upon. It was really passed down.
Oh yeah, it was no turning the record on or TV or listening to grandma. It was entrenched in the family, because my great grandmother and my great grandfather, which was their parents, they knew how to play the guitar, and then my great grandparents had brothers and sisters that could play. So it was like, and they do, the country dances, playing the fiddle and all this stuff. So the music was there. And the only thing I had to do was just skip the generation. My mother's generation, it landed right on top of me. So I just had to be present when they was there.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, you mentioned something else that's traditional in I want to say our culture, but for to keep it 100, that's kind of traditional in a lot of cultures. The family playing music from the fiddles to the harp to the banjo, the country balls and the hold down. So this was, you guys had barbecues and family get-togethers, and the instruments came out.
That's right. And man, sometimes the instruments come out with nothing cooking. You break the instrument out hoping you can get the parts going.
That's what I'm talking about. Now that's black.
Now that's us right there.
That's what I'm talking about. So now, was Man Child your first blues album?
No, I did my first album I did was in St. Louis. It was called Mississippi Delta Boys. I did it with a harmonica player by the name of Adam, and then I had the old guy who used to play out with me. His name was Charlie Sweet, but he passed away. And Mr. Sweet was the only guy that would play with me at the time. Everybody used to talk about my timing and all that, but we put together, made the CD, and then we kept going and kept getting good. And then I recorded another CD, which was entitled Rise Up Now. Rise Up Now was a gospel track that I put in my blues. And so it was pretty good. And then my first national CD was Man Child that I did with Michael Burks. And then I got ready to record Here I Am. I thought about it. I said, I need to do this with my own guys so the people can see that, well, this is Marquise Knox making this wave, not just Marquise Knox trying to use Michael Burke's name, trying to get himself out, but just show the people what he's seen in me. So that's why I went ahead and did it like that.
I dig it. Now, that first album you did, how old were you?
I think I was about 13. 12 or 13 years old.
That's what I'm talking about. That's history right there.
Yeah, and then I got a little old makeshift CD. You go over your cousin's house and everybody call themselves recording. But that wasn't nothing but what it did. It captured me when I was like in maybe like the 5th grade, man. That's young, man, to be playing the blues like that.
Because it was in the spirit. You can't hide that. Now, you said that it was a gospel song that you made blues. So are you saying there's a difference between the spirituals and the blues?
No, this was just my own song I wrote. I decided, I said, well, I thought about the things that I was going through at the time. And then I think about what they say, you got to praise and give it up to God. So I wrote a song called Rise On Up. Rise Up Now.
I dig it.
So you just get on about it. But it was the blues, but it was my blues gospel. It's the way I like gospel. That down home Southern traditional style.
I do know, because that's how I like gospel too.
Yeah.
I don't
mind contemporary, but I love the down home tradition.
Right. It's funny, or ironic might be a better term. They have gospel is broken into so many categories, but when I hear the term gospel or I hear the term spirituals, if it don't give me goosebumps, and I'm not thinking about rest in peace,
Right.
it's not going down.
No, man, you think about ladies like Mahalia Jackson, man. At first I listened at Miss Mahalia, but I never did pay attention. But it was until I went to South America last year, and before I left home, I watched a documentary about her, and I started listening to the way she would phrase her lyrics and the way she used her oxygen when she was getting ready to sing. I said, I listened to a lot of blues guys I want to be like. I said, but I want to sing like Mahalia Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That woman had a voice, and the way she projected, it was all about the feeling.
You touch on something really important. I think we should let's talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Because myself as well, you hear cats like Son House or Charlie Patton or Howlin' Wolf that you wouldn't consider real singers, but they just knew how to express themselves, get that point across. And most people, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of blues singers aren't the best singers, but you feel them. But what you just said was Mahalia Jackson, who's a real singer, you understood how she utilized her voice, and you wanted to take that into the blues. How important is it for blues artists, at least to break through or get to the other side as professional, to train their voice, or at least get the technique down of singing, harmonizing, and holding notes?
I think it's important. I think that's the most important part of the blues is the singing aspect, especially like you see, you want to go on the professional side. Everybody and their brother got a band in town, you see what I'm saying? And that's, whether it's in St. Louis, Chicago, Hump Dump, Mississippi. You got bands everywhere. But you have to figure out, okay, with all of us playing the same 12 bars, 16, 1, 4, and 5, how do I make myself a little different, and how do I create my own path? And I think a lot of people think it's the guitar. I truthfully think that it is the voice that really makes it professional, because all the playing BB.King done on some of BB.King's best records, he never sung. I mean, he never played the guitar. Like some of the early stuff they used with the big band.
Right.
And so, people, you have to go back to that voice means more to the story you're trying to tell, and all more so than the instrument that you're playing. And I think a lot of guys get caught up in the technique of how to play. Always used to think, I said, man, I wish my grandmother then would have been a little more literate on where you need to learn chords and you need to know the structure of a song. But it wasn't none of that. Only thing it was playing. But what I got out of it, you needed to project your voice. We didn't have a microphone, and my uncle liked to play the guitar loud. So it was like, so you had to learn how to use your voice and project it and get your feeling into it. But I learned that part, and now I'm getting around to, okay, the technical. But I'm more appreciative for the point of just knowing how to sing the blues. Because a lot of people tell me, they say, Marquis, we understand every word that you sing. And when I listen to some of the guys that I like, you can't understand what they're saying.
No, it's the truth.
What they're doing, but like, what did he just say?
No, it's the truth.
Clarity is key.
That's the truth. And, I like how you broke that down because it still keeps the essence of what the real blues is, the storytelling and how it's being told, and everything else just falls into place.
Yep.
I dig that. And, not for nothing, what I did notice in your last two live stream performances for your Facebook audience was those were like what I like to call what blues that people don't realize is the blues, right? So some people think it's doo-wop, some people think it's rock and roll or original rhythm and blues, but it's all blues. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. The people that come to my head is like Little Richard or Fats Dominoes and people like that, which they were doing the blues, and you were able to vocally hit that level of those cats, but still play the guitar as if it was the blues. So people didn't even realize what was going on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, the blues, the blues is the foundation of American music. I'm quite sure there were some Westerns that may have got a hold to the guitar before we could, but quite naturally that would happen. But he couldn't say that somewhere in his own sorrow that he didn't overhear the sorrow of at least the brother in the field, and somehow that didn't transfer and translate over into what he felt, which is the blues, because the blues is the foundation of anything that we go to do here in America. You listen to some of these pop tunes, and he got the 1-4-5 in it, and they sliding in there like ain't nobody paying attention that it's the blues, but folks going off, so man, that's hip hop. Or the guy, I think I think his name was Weekend, and I think he got that song, I Go For You, or whatever the title of. Man, that's nothing but blues, man, some straight R&B blues, but
that's the
they
truth.
think it's hip hop.
No, you're right. You're right. The example I like to use is Adele. I can't think of, like, her first big single. We Could Have Had It All.
Right.
That's 12 ball. That's Texas Shuffle.
No, man, that's all it is.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, look at this. And I mean, people, and don't get me wrong, the song is fire and she sounds great, but I'm like, these people are eating this up and don't realize this is just down home Texas, Mississippi, St. Louis blues.
That's all it is. And then they talk about the blues is there, and the influence of the blues has surpassed the blues industry itself. You see what I'm saying? The blues industry is there, but the blues music just stepped outside of the industry. It done crept over into the R&B, the rap, the hip-hop, which was already there, but it's going back to that place again. And then what they're going to have to do in the blues is figure out, okay, how do we do, just like they do in any other industry, what makes those industries have as much money and make it longevity for those artists, and it is new face. It's like, there's no reason why guys like Shakira Singleton and Selwyn Birchwood and John Tavis, myself, and you, guys who truthfully play the blues, that you can't really get out here and be known in the blues without paying some kind of dues. It's like each man has his own story. You don't know what I've been through in order for me to deliver the blues in which the way I deliver. So for somebody to think that you have to necessarily pay dues in their eyes, see, I think that's wrong. But that's what you go through in the blues, man. These guys pop up in any other industry, country music, rap, man, they here today, and they young faces. And they promote those young people. The blues got a problem with saying, okay, we're going to turn the industry over to the new blood. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
It's nothing. Well, first I just have to say I'm humbled and honored to be mentioned amongst cats like you and John Tavius and the cats that you mentioned. That's a huge honor. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, bro.
Secondly, my question is because I've been trying to wrap my mind around this as well. Though all these quote unquote genres of music is really refurbished blues, from rock and roll to pop to alternative rock, these are all just blues standards, blues songs refurbished. Do you think the problem with our industry is the fact that the title is blues? So now you have the title blues, which everybody knows where this comes from. So unless you don't see, you either have to see an older black face or it has to be a white face. If you see black people really doing it and they're fresh and they're new and they're younger, it's almost like they're afraid it's going to bring back a sour feelings of where this music comes from. So could it be the name and the history? Why?
I think my personal opinion on that, a lot of them don't know what the blues is. And so when you necessarily say the blues, if their first opinion will say, well, maybe that's what grandma listened to, and then they got some far-fetched idea, or I don't know what song they got in their head, but they're like, yeah, that's what grandma listened to, until they actually sit down and hear a song that touches them, and they reach out and grab them, or they see some young person, once again, going back to young people, that's playing it, then they have to say, well, wait a minute, that's the blues. I have a lot of friends I went to school with didn't like the blues until I started playing it. Now all my friends like the blues. I got a lot of friends I went to school with in high school, my friends on Facebook, and they get on me. I had a girl I went to school with, she said, Marquise, I never heard you sing. I did the Facebook Live, she was all in my inbox. Oh my God, I didn't know. See, but they didn't know it at the time what it was. But nobody took the time and explain our story. We're so busy explaining everybody else's story. We're so busy explaining why Latinos in their condition, why Muslims are in their condition, but we never sit down and take time and say, well, wait a minute, we have a condition of our own. Why are we in that condition? And I think that's why the blues must remain in its name. The blues, as Crystal Tucker say in Memphis, are the reds or the pinks, as Albert King say. See, this is just a feeling and an expression. But without them knowing what it is, they would never appreciate the blues. And I think that when you say something, a lot of young guys are shying away from calling themselves blues bands for that very reason, because they feel, well, wait a minute, maybe I won't be able to sell as much as if I say I'm outright traditional blues player. So let me go in here and change it up over here and over there. I never will compromise my sound just to make sure I sell a ticket or two or a CD or two or fit in where I don't supposed to be in.
That's real. And that's what longevity is about. You know, in my young old life, I've seen so many artists come and go, and some of them should not have gone as fast as they did, but the problem probably was somebody talked them into doing this because it was a guaranteed sell. And then they couldn't get out of that space.
Nope.
No, that's so. Now, with that being said, let's break down the blues in terms of it being. Well, you actually did that already, so I guess that would be redundant because you made it clear it's every man's story, whether we're talking about. And I'm doing a parallel to turn of the century blues. We're talking about the traveling guitarist or harmonica player, or we're talking about the prison workers or the workers that sang in unison. This was their story.
Yep.
You know, I guess the better question would be, what do you think would be the best way to translate that into today? And not in terms of changing it, but you said most of these people don't know what the blues is. How can we get them to understand or introduce it to them?
Well, our radio stations we're gonna have to figure out who own our black media station, and why don't these stations play the music? I mean, it's kind of crazy that you have to go to Memphis just to even catch blues on, or in the South Pier to catch blues on the radio. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, on the weekend. We have to move away from maybe we do a 4 to 6 on Sunday afternoon when everybody gathered around eating something. You know, we play a little blues for y'all, and then we get back to Quiet Storm and R&B and all that. We have to introduce it to the radio waves. You don't have to go back and get every old song, but you go back and get those songs that talk about what we're going through today, because you wouldn't understand some of the writing that was going on until you understand the blues. The blues was the direct condition of what we were going through. I mean, it's just a link.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And my biggest concern, and because you mentioned hip hop earlier, and hip hop to me is the closest form, at least the origins of hip hop is the closest form of the blues. It was an outcry of social financial turmoil and oppression, you know, and it was the griot, both in the blues and both in hip hop. So now hip hop has taken, rap music has taken such a big turn. I really kind of hold a lot of the older cats are understanding, but then should hip hop do more in pushing the blues tradition is my question.
Oh yeah, man. You know, I always toy with the idea of one day getting with a hip hop artist, a rap artist, and do blues rap, a blues hip hop. Do it on the blues base, but showcase hip hop on top of the blues and rapping on top of the blues. Always wanted to take Born on the Bad Sign and find a good rapper, man, and just put that out there and let the hook be Born on the Bad Side, and he can rap till his heart turns blue and pink, and then we come right back with it, Born on the Bad Side. Why? Because I never learned to read, I never learned how to write. See, that's what's going on in the neighborhood today.
That's right.
And hip-hop, they understand it because they go right to it, because hip-hop talk about the plague, and they got to show how the blues is also doing the same thing. You're just talking about it on a different level. One is just as direct as the other. It's just all in how you listen to it.
I dig that. So now
when they do that, man, that's revitalizing our culture right there. I mean, that's saying that I don't think a lot of hip-hop guys would rather be sold out the way you find some rappers that you just want, you got to have the contract, and you rather talk about your woman and your people in such a negative way that, you know what I'm saying, you're really destroying who we are, more so than building up who we are. I know it sounds good at the time, but man, I'm quite sure we're going to get 50 years down the line and wonder why we were the only people who were exploited when it comes to talking about their own people.
That's right. That's right. So it would be safe to say, more than a music, more than a heritage, blues is a culture.
Yep. Blues is us, man. Man, I got religious people in my family, and some of them like that deal. I played the guitar so young. Some of them wanted me to take my talent and give it to the Lord. It's like, but this is a God-given talent. I have to use it for what I'm comfortable with. And then they said, well, the blues is the devil music. I said, well, I always give them a little scripture. I said, when the God come back, after Eve had bit the fruit and Adam done it, I said, and Adam found out that the first child was none of his. I said, did Adam have the blues or did he have gospel? If Adam had the blues. How you gonna come back and tell me that there's gonna be enmity between my seed and her seed? I thought she was mine from jump anyway. That's the blues.
That's right. That's right. Boy, that's the blues right there if I ever heard it.
And you can't put it no plainer than that.
No. No. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. God gave us the blues, but it works and it's real and it's actually not devil's music. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's the lament of the people, and in the Bible, they talk about lamenting. So you're absolutely right. Wow.
Your soul got to cry out. I mean, you can't hold it in. I mean, I think when you listen at the blues, and then you look at the history of us, we're gonna say at the history from the time we come over on a little boat called Jesus until now, and you look at the blues, you have to say, man, with all our suffering and mourning and everything that we have been some of the most faithful people to ever live under such oppression. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I mean, we've been loyal to the flag. They talk about loyal to the throne, and we have been loyal to the flag. That's why the flag got the blue in it around the star, because you can't have them stars shining so bright until you see them blues behind it.
That's right, boy. Ooh. So, no, that's real. That's deep. I have to ask you this question. I got to take it to the left just a tad. Based on what you just said, do you have, is it a far-fetched thought that maybe the captives that was brought over here on that little boat named Jesus are the descendants of Judah and the original Hebrew Israelites?
Oh, what not? I mean, when you look at I'm saying they telling us to take us a book, the Bible, and read it, and they want us to say, now this went parallel with history, but you want me to believe that the people that you're talking about aren't myself. First of all, they got to get around the fact that Noah had 3 kids. And he had Ham, and it said Ham had some kids. Ham had Mizraim, Foot, and Cush, Libya, Egypt, and Ethiopia. But then it says in the same book they tell us to read from and be thankful from, it said, but Ham is not the progenitor of the Negro. Well, then who is the Negro?
That's real. That's real.
Who is the Negro? So then you have to go back when you read books like Obadiah. He said, thou hast exalted thyself, and you have placed your nest among the stars. Nest mean a temporary home. So you have placed your nest among the stars, and say, who shall bring me down? We don't have no satellite up there. We don't have no space station flying around in the name of us. So we have to be them people that he talked about in Deuteronomy 28:68. He said, I caused thou to go back into Egypt, not the land, but the condition of slavery. And nobody went in ships, man. We went to China. We went to India. We went to South America, the Caribbean, and our last stop, sweet home, America. And why couldn't we be these people that he prophesied into? That's why Jesus told him, he said, if you were Abraham, then you would know me. You can't be talking about. I mean, I hate to be so blunt, but man, how many people you think underneath the teaching that we get underneath the Bible went to heaven between the years of 1600 and I'll be nice and say 1970? With the same teaching they giving us and telling us that what we doing is so morally corrupt. That's why Martin Luther King said, when you have a nation that spend more on defense than to do social programs, you have misguided men and self-guided missiles.
There's really nothing to say. The proof is in the pudding, boy.
I'm telling you. Now, we ain't them people he talking about. Yeah, who is?
Right. No, I mean that's just the blunt, honest truth. That's just the blunt, honest truth.
Point them people out. Point them out because, even Solomon told him, he said, "Oh, daughter of Jerusalem, I'm black, but I'm common." We know all the ites in the Bible, those are all black people.
Yeah.
Nobody want to talk about the black presence in the Bible like we some foreign folks. I'll give you one of the famous examples when they said the sons of Israel sold Joseph into slavery. And when Joseph got there into Egypt, he interpreted Pharaoh's dream and told him we're going to have days of plenty, days of lease, and our days of plenty we store back. So when the days of lease come, we have them. So the famine come into the land. So his brothers come down into the land, but he was dressed in his Egyptian wear. But he knew his brothers.
Yeah.
But it said his brothers knew him not. So you mean to tell me if they wasn't black by the time Adam was started, they definitely was black when they got to that part in Genesis? Because how in the world could Joseph go over there and be with those folks and his brother not come back? Man, he was white. They'd have been able to see him.
That's right.
Green.
That's right.
Jesus should not have been able to go over there and hide from Herod, but he did.
Okay, and not to mention when Paul went to speak to the Romans, they thought he was Egyptian.
Oh my God! Aren't you not Egyptian?
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
But that's the blues, man.
Well, it is, and that's why I wanted to bring it back to that, because now I want to know. I had wrote an article, and I want to discuss this with you. Can the blues be traced back to the tribes of Israel?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't say why not as a blanket expression. I say when you hear about, "Oh Lord, hear my plea. Strive with those that strive with me. Fight against those that fight against me." Psalm 35. That's David. That's no more different when you hear us talk about, "Lord, I'm down and out. And I don't know where to go. If you help me this time, you won't have to help me no more." Ain't that what David was saying?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
He
is.
asked him, he said, "Why are you so far from my plea?" We say the same thing in the blues.
Yes, we do.
"Lord, have mercy on me." Everything we find even in the Proverbs say, one of the Proverbs says, the poor man's destruction is his poverty, the rich man's destruction is his city. That's the blues. Because why is it the blues? Because if you was a peasant in the time of the Bible and the rich man owned the city the same way you do now, you think of we working class, we just above not working, but you still got the super rich, but the super rich own the city. But when you have poverty and you have murders and you have such crime going on, you can't blame the man that's in poverty. That was already his destruction. The Bible plainly told him that. But it is also the rich man's destruction in the city because it's your city and you want the money out of it, but you don't want to do nothing about it. So everybody sit back and they sit on their hand and they wait till the last little John kill each other. Then they'll run down there and they'll buy our property up. And then they'll put us back in it 10 times the price than when we were getting in the beginning.
And if that ain't the blues,
nobody talk about, but it goes on in the blues. You see, they just don't take our community. They get our music the same way. Not saying that they cannot play it. I mean, that's being wrong to say they can do it. But nobody who play it, you just don't only have love for BB.King and John Lee Hooker. Do you think they're the only guys that had the same upbringing inside of the blues, the same horror and the same story? There were countless of people that was in Mississippi that will never be known, but probably played the blues 20 times better. But
that's
you
right.
have to respect the craft and the people that make that craft and talked about their condition, but you don't see it. If I had been a young white man, I'd have already been famous. There's no buts about it. Singing the way I sing, talking about it the way I talk about it, and the direct ears of my people, oh my goodness, man, they'd had me on some 20-foot bus rolling around the country, but it's not so. They don't want us to have our own a stronghold in what we do. Because when you have your own say, then y'all start changing your music, and then it has to benefit what y'all want to do, and it don't benefit what we want to do. It don't support our record companies anymore. Because I'm quite sure if you took maybe 5 of the hottest brothers that I named earlier, you put them all on the same record label, man, we would have an enterprise more bigger than anything they ever seen, because you have to give something for yourself. You don't let somebody take everything that you work for just so you can get out here and say, well, I did this once upon a time.
That's right. And not even get the fruits of your labor.
And not even get it. But it said, curse shalt thou be in the city, curse shalt thou be in the field, but we don't get it.
That's real, because that is the truth. You won't even own your own name, nothing.
No, but you don't. And you sit back and you wonder why these guys die harder with anything. I mean, the John Lee Hookers and the BB.King, this was an exception of the blues. I mean, that rarely happens, that you can say, man, these guys died with, like, you know what I'm saying, maybe worse, $5 to 10, 15, $20 million. That don't hardly happen.
No.
Bobby Womack died with how much? What, $50,000 in the bank?
Yeah, come on. With all the songs he wrote that he didn't even perform, but he wrote for other artists. So that should be publishing, if nothing else. Wow.
But we crazy when we talk like this. What they call us, we racist. They say we borderline racist, or we don't. They say no black and white, just the blues. But then who created the blues? See, you're going right back to color when you say that. See, we don't get the appreciation. They don't think that we want to continue or speak up for what our people have created. Every John that done come along, not saying from the Library of Congress on down, have told us what we know. You're gonna tell me about the blues. You're gonna tell me what I feel. You can't tell me how to feel about the blues when I'm listening at my grandmama talk about how my great grandmama used to be raped.
Yeah.
And you don't think I can't translate that feeling into the blues, can you?
Exactly. Exactly. You know, I remember after my grandma passed, we were sitting on my grandpa's deck in New Orleans, me, my brother, my grandpa. He's 94 right now, my last living grandparent. And he was telling me and my brother how he grew up on a plantation. And 3, 4 in the morning, all 12 of him and his siblings had to go out along with his aunts and uncles and parents. And so you hear well, when you talk about the blues and everything that it goes with, we don't need to talk about that. Let's just keep it to the music. But that's the music.
That's the right. That's the thing.
Because that's where it came from. I dig it. Let me ask you a question. You mentioned the Library of Congress and the John Lomaxes of the world that went along with that. Do you think they were also, how can I word this? Because they weren't record labels, but they actually treated I guess, I don't want to say treated worse, but most of those artists didn't get paid, and they got paid recording those field recordings. So is there a parallel between what they did and what the record industry did to majority of the artists, for the exception of the ones that made it through?
Oh man, it's the same thing. I think about Lomax. I was looking at this documentary. They said he was going around the South. What they was doing was they would put up the posters and sign and put the word out. They tell the best players to come here Friday, Saturday afternoon. We're gonna hold a competition. Notice how guys like Skip James and all these fellas got found. And then what they would do is they see who sound the best. It was really a competition, but it wasn't a competition that we were thinking about. This was a competition to stifle the best of this unknown music. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We go down here and we're going to get Robert Johnson. We're going to run over here. We're going to get Son House. We're going to go get Fred McDowell. We're going to run over to Alabama. We're going to run over to Georgia. Then we're going to run back over to Texas. But see, we don't want to hear from all y'all. We want to see how y'all sound different and who had the best song. And in that way, that created the modern day record industry.
Wow.
Because because they had to pick. You see what I'm saying? What more better? I thought about it. I said it was a good thing. I said, and also was almost like an exploit because these guys thinking they coming here to really follow themselves or get themselves about a turmoil. I said, hell, they just coming here, just adding on to somebody's catalog.
Yeah,
I
everybody
want to hear from you. We heard Sweet Home Chicago, shit in the Delta.
Wow. Which you gave the record label didn't have to run out and do nothing. All they had to do was contract those cats. And wow. Wow.
I thought that's how I felt when I heard it. That's exactly hit my spirit. I said, man, I said, I don't know what that was, a blessing or a curse.
Exactly. Exactly. Because that actually set, based on how you expressed that set the standards of how these A&Rs go around recruiting and how they pin artists against each other.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. Being in the climate we are now with the blues, is it better to be independent, or is it better to be on a label, or is it better to do like a Wu-Tang Clan of the blues and get some cats together and make something happen? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's best to be independent because I figured like this. If you're going to go out there and sell, if you want to, if they doing it, 25, 30,000 records, how much is a dollar you're going to get? You see what I'm saying? What's the percentage? Is it 27%? Are you getting 30? Are you getting half of a dollar every time you sell it? No way. They ain't gonna know, but they not gonna let you record, and somehow you're gonna, in your royalties, you're gonna make out more than the record company.
That's right.
So you better off being an independent artist, and you might as well just sell you 3,000 to 6,000 CDs on your own. You see what I'm saying? That way you sell 3 at 20. You got $20, 3,000 at $20. You got your $60,000. You ain't got to answer to nobody. You ain't got to have nobody coming in. I don't like the way this sound. Start this back over, roll it over. No, you can do it just like you want to do. You can take that money and invest in yourself. Well, they won't invest in you without extending the contract. You know what I'm saying? That's because we get caught up in contract, man. That's no different than having slave masters. No different. I mean, because I got to. And then you want to come in here, what's to say I write a song, and then you come in here and want to add your 50 cents on to it, and then you want half of the damn publishing. And come on, man. But this is what happens. This is what goes on. And man, can you fault anybody for making money like that? No. You got to fault the people that's going to stand in line and take it. You see what I'm saying? Y'all know this system is like this. You know you are the talent. Don't ever let the prestige name of somebody's record company or booking label think that you yourself as an artist don't bring something to the table, because it took an artist to get them people their name.
That's
and
right.
It's still gonna take an artist to get them people where they need to be.
That's right. That's
so
right.
Why not get out there and say, well, I work with my brother Jack. We're going to sit up here. We're going to get us a record company down on paper. We ain't got no facility, but it ain't nobody's business. We're a record company on paper. And we're going to release this song, these CDs. We're going to release it up underneath this house, and all the royalties come back. The artists get all this money. You make it all beneficial for yourself. But we don't want to do the hard work, and we don't want to create the friction out there that you want to buck against the system. That's the most important thing. I think don't nobody want to say, well, that's what I've been wanting to do all along. But you're scared to do it.
No, it's real. That statement reminded me of Harriet Tubman. I would have saved more if they knew they were slaves.
He didn't bring that shotgun to kill the hound, to kill the people that were chasing him down.
No.
It was almost like in South Africa. Man, there was some treacherous things had to happen in South Africa for them folks to gain their independence. Some black folks were killing black folks because they didn't want black folks to compromise. Man, hold on, what you mean? We got a shot at being independent?
Yeah.
Your independence got to mean your life. But like Martin Luther King said, if you want You won't die from something you living for nothing.
That's
Your
real.
independence, your integrity, who we are as a people, mean more to me than going out here and trying to be somebody's super mega star. I know who I am. I know what makes me happy. I know what I want to do in life. I know I don't want to dance by so-and-so music. So you create your own path. Even if that's a meandering path and it take you a long time to get there, that's what you do.
That's real. I hope y'all taking these notes, because you know they say the game supposed to be sold, not told, but you are getting some real gems this evening and this afternoon.
Oh my goodness. My big
real.
brother.
So now, what's next? What are you working on next? Are you working on a album currently?
Well, I'm working on it, brother. I'm caught at the crossroad. I don't know whether to do a crowdfunding or go ahead and just say, I'll go ahead and try to do this on my own. So that's where I'm at. I got songs written down, and I'm ready for the studio. But that's where I'm at that point. Like, how do I go about it? If I do crowdfunding, I know I probably could raise enough to really get some good promotion and everything by it. I know I got people out there that would like to see what I do. Would
Absolutely.
Like to see me go places.
Absolutely. Maybe that might have to be the plan, because I know a good couple of hundred, and there's more, but the ones that I don't say know personally, but interact with, a lot of people reach out to Talking About the Blues, thanking us for playing your music.
Man, I have to tune in. I was like, man, my brother, I got my app. Man, the other day my app was acting up. I finally got this straightened out. That's how I got to tune in.
That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate that. So where could the good people find you? Your Twitter, your band page, all the good stuff, the website?
You can find me at my website is marquisknox.com. You can find me on Facebook. My Facebook page and my personal page is all the same, Marquise Knox. And you can look me up, Google me, YouTube me. I'm everywhere.
That's what I'm talking about. Tonight you're going to be at the...
outside the History Museum in St. Louis for our Twilight Tuesday series.
Right. Now this is Tuesday night, because this is pre-recorded. It'll be playing this Friday.
Okay.
I can't think of wow, I don't remember what date Friday is going to be. Today's the 3rd, so what is that? I don't know.
Friday is the 6th.
The 6th. So thank you. So this is going to be streaming on the 6th. So the event will be passed, but tonight, Tuesday the 3rd, you're going to be outside the St. Louis Blues Museum. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, because, the folks have to understand that with the music comes a huge history. And
man, the history tells it all.
That's right, and it's our history. We got to do this again, and we've been talking about doing that video series. Soon as I get that camera together, we're gonna make that happen.
Well, we need to. I think the people love to see us all sit down, man, and run over this thing.
That's right. All right, man. I really appreciate sitting down, chopping it up, talking about the blues with your brother.
All right, big brother.
All right. Yo, y'all been tuning in, listening to a very, very deep brother who is the blues. I know you heard of him, and if you haven't, you better check out Marquise Knox, because he's bluesing hard body, as they say on the strip. Anyway, remember, this is Talking About the Blues. Go to the YouTube page, subscribe, go to the website, join the email list, follow us on Twitter, drop us a line. And if you don't do nothing, keep on bluesing, and most importantly, keep God first. Talk to you next week.